This podcast brought to you by Digital Diamond Entertainment.
All right, Vex, run the intro.
So when am I getting paid for this?
Kind of like a podcast, sort of, but not really.
Is that gonna be an ongoing thing?
What's this ish?
What do you mean ish? Only when the scratch comes in. Me doing that through the whole podcast.
Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13.
Hey, welcome back to the Podcast-ish podcast, where every week we give you the facts, fiction, and twisted opinions on aspects of human behavior. We believe words are important, and the facts do not give a flying fuck about your feelings. So sit back and strap in, because this week, the Ish crew has an open discussion.
Oh my.
About whatever the fuck we want. Because we just recorded an episode, and this is our second one today, and we started talking about a bunch of shit that we just start talking about live, guys. I'm Parnel alongside John Vex.
Hello.
This is Will Haze.
I'm Will Haze, and today's episode of I Want All the Smoke is not I Want All the Smoke. Today's episode of the Podcast-ish podcast is brought to you by Lex for all your Stay Fresh needs. Lex will have you covered. If you're looking for Bape Supreme, the exclusive 2.6 Dover collection, and those hard-to-find Jordan or Yeezys, you need to check out Lex. This is the Podcast-ish podcast, and Lex is located on 17th Avenue Southeast and Chinook Mall across from Urban Outfitters. Just like us on the Podcast-ish podcast, don't sleep on Lex, 17th Avenue, Chinook Mall across from Urban Outfitters. This is the Podcast-ish podcast.
Don't sleep.
Don't sleep.
On the
Don't even nap.
Well, you can take a nap.
Don't take long blinks.
We
Don't snooze.
You guys heard last week. We're recording 2 episodes today. We record two episodes at a time now. The one we just recorded was on fake news. That's the one you guys heard last week. This one, we're our minds are worn out. We can't think, so we're just having an open discussion. We started talking about a bunch of things. We're gonna talk about some war stuff.
Yeah.
Why?
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Say it again now.
Good guy. What is it good for? Have to do nothing. What a Jackie Chan.
Can he do? Think he can do it for an hour and a half?
With my James Brown impression? give me a hot tub. I can turn it into Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. So we were just having a discussion here. We've, sometimes we need a break from all the political, all the news stuff, all the everything.
Well, more than news stuff, but I think we're still keeping it a little serious, a little.
We're gonna keep
provoking.
Yeah, stay tuned. This is, you guys are gonna get some behind the scenes kind of backstage access to how our minds kind of work and
the kind of discussions we have
off air.
Yeah. Like I was talking to Will earlier, something that Parnel and I watched. What was the name of the show, Parnel?
It was comedy. It's on Netflix. It's comedy in war zones or something like that.
The comedy and the dangers of comedy.
Yes.
The Dangers of Comedy. That's the name of
Comedy
it.
in dangerous places.
Something like that. Yeah,
I'm
on Netflix. I know which one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm looking up right now.
And what I'd asked Will, and I had this discussion with a friend of mine earlier this week after watching this episode, because there was something that was a detail of a country that was brought to light to me.
Dangerous World of Comedy by Larry Charles.
Dangerous World of Comedy. They went to Liberia, and they were filming comedians in Liberia, and there was something about Liberia that I had not known previously. Now, I'd always known that Liberia was established by former slaves. What I didn't know was the former slaves, who came from the U.S. largely, went into what is now Liberia and enslaved people there.
Right, so people that were slaves in America didn't want to be slaves, went back to Liberia.
And enslaved the people of Liberia.
Right.
Or what became Liberia.
What kind of fucked up mindset? I guess, well, you know what that speaks to? That speaks to what slavery does to a mind.
I don't know, because I didn't hear about Jewish people leaving Egypt and enslaving people then. But then they did.
Yeah.
They did have slaves, right? I don't know if is it slavery that makes you that screwed up that you go, well, I understand how bad this is, so I'm just gonna do it again.
I don't know. I think what it is, it might be. Slaves has been around for eons.
Yes, since humans have been around.
And I think it was colored people enslaving other colored people to start with, and then what you hear about now is the whites enslaving blacks in America. That's what we mostly hear about because we're on this side of the world. Mm-hmm. But I guess it started in Egypt back in who knows when. Right.
Well, yeah, Egypt enslaved the Jews.
Right, and then Egypt enslaved other Africans. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and then
the Jews were living were of African descent, so they were African.
Yeah, I mean, the darker skin tones is what I'm getting.
They
at.
lived in Africa. Their skin tone was dark as hell.
I
The
get
Hebrews that lived in Africa looked just like us.
okay, like you.
Well, like me. If I had hair. No, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is
Tell
like,
me about the mindset, man.
well, the mindset. Listen, this is what messes me up. Okay. If you're having a conversation, I don't care if it's two white people, an Asian dude, and a Puerto Rican man.
So
Two
that's
black
like me
people.
talking to myself then.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're talking about slavery in America, leave indentured servants, indentured servants, and slavery was in Africa out of the conversation. Just leave it out we ain't talking about that. We're talking about where we are and what brought us here.
Okay, describe. Well, if you're talking about what brought us here, the slaves in Egypt was what started the whole thing. That's what brought slaves here.
That's not what
No,
started
I think
here.
it's completely separate.
Yeah,
You think so?
100%.
Yeah.
The slaves in Egypt?
Because that's 4,000 years ago.
Yeah, but then slaves in Egypt, the slave owners in Egypt would sold the slaves to Europeans to bring
No,
them
not
here.
4,000 years ago.
Not 4,000 years ago, but that's how slaves actually
Yeah, so
came to the U.S.
in
But
Africa, in modern time slavery, let's say modern time for lack of a better description, the African slave trade in specific from Africa to the Western world, that was, from my understanding, and again, listeners, correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, it was pretty much Africans selling Africans to Muslims, who in turn sold them to Europeans.
Now, that was part of it. That's there. But it's not like they called Europe and said, "Hey, we have an idea."
Yes, exactly.
This was all.
You mean
this was all
sent smoke
for
signals,
well, I mean,
carrier pigeons.
electricity and running water and infrastructure and modern science and astrology was all in Africa before it came anywhere.
That has yet to be proven. But anyway.
Yeah, it's there.
You should see the look on Will Hayes' face right now. He's trying to make me
But-
believe it without not believing.
No,
himself.
dead ass. You don't have to believe it. Dead ass. There's reports that it was. There's not.
There's not a solid evidence, but it could have been.
I mean, there's stories.
I know
there's stories that came from there that have it in. Like
Right.
it's. I don't know. It's just like if someone read Gene Roddenberry in the 70s and they read it in year 3000 and said in the 70s we have flip phones. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just stories about, like, maybe there's telling stories about things that haven't been invented yet, and it's science fiction, whatever science fiction. But at that day, it's cool. Science fiction was invented by Egypt. But my thing is this. A lot of there was
Hold the fuck on.
there was slavery in Africa. It was not to the extent of what slavery was in the States. There was you can call them the equivalent of the indentured servants, right? But
Give a brief description of indentured servants, just so our listeners know.
you're not making much. It's horrible hours, deplorable conditions, and you're treated like a slave. And maybe you're not even getting wages, but you're getting food. You have living quarters and but it's not as bad as kids being ripped from their mothers, being all this stuff. It's like it's not as bad as it was in the States, and I could be wrong, but this is from the information that I have. But a lot of the Africans selling to Muslims, selling to the Europeans, was a instinct of, if we don't, we're on the next boat type thing.
I don't think so. Because Europeans at that time did not want to tangle with Islam. Right? So you have to remember, and again, I could be wrong, so please correct me if I am. From my understanding, no Europeans literally went into Africa and said, okay, you, and you get on the boat. Right? There was already an established trade route. Mm-hmm. Right? And the brutality didn't start with Europeans. It didn't start with the white man. The brutality actually started with the Middle Easterns.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
right?
Roots lied to me?
Of course, because
Roots
Roots is not true. Roots has no history. Well, Roots is not a historical account of somebody.
I'm glad you rephrased that. No,
Right?
wait, sorry.
Yeah. So
No, fuck it, I'm not sorry.
okay,
Carry
whatever.
on with your story.
I don't care. So, but the brutality actually started with the Middle Easterns. What they used to do is they would take some of the African guys and castrate them
Oh, that sucks.
to calm them down. Yeah. Right?
Calm them down, like they were unruly. Like
Yeah,
all the
so
Africans are
chop
running
your
around like
balls
the
off, right?
Tasmanian devil, like
Yeah.
little tornadoes running around Africa.
So just like today, got it.
Right? Maybe
Is that
calm them
African?
down
You're
is
more
is-
African than I am.
Yeah. Or to maybe not calm them down. That's a very bad way of putting it. To
But
discipline as a form of punishment and
passive
discipline.
to
right?
pacify them.
So not even pacify. It was literally you're acting up. I'm going to punish you. Balls
Cut your
gone.
balls off.
Right?
Could you imagine, sort of interrupt the mind state? It's like you sitting at the round table. It's like, man, yo, Akimbe once again.
Why is it going to be a Kimbe?
Okay, Mutanga. Otang. Once again, threw a rock in my general direction.
hey,
what
Jerry.
are we gonna do? What are we gonna? Yeah, it's like Jim.
Yeah.
Dave. Dave Johnson.
Fucking Dave.
Fucking Dave.
Hey,
No,
Dave,
if it was
nuts.
Muslims, it would be Ahmed. Hey, Ahmed.
Ahmed.
Or
Yeah,
Mo-
but they were
Mohammed.
talking about like, yo,
Mohammed.
Ahmed was talking with Mohammed and said, yo, Akimbe keeps throwing rocks at us. What are we gonna do? He's like, yo, listen. We're gonna put him in a hole? No, don't put him in a hole. The hole doesn't work. What are we gonna do? We gonna whip him? No, don't whip him.
No, don't whip
What are
him.
we gonna
No.
do? Slap him? Don't
No,
slap him.
don't slap him.
What are you gonna do? Well, we could cut his balls off. You know what?
Hey, you know what we should
This
do?
sounds like a good idea. Let's cut their balls off.
You know what you should do?
Yeah.
You should probably cut his balls off.
Cut his balls off.
You know what? And but better thing.
Yeah, do it in public.
Yeah, do it in front of his wife.
Yeah, cut his balls off in front of his
Yeah,
wife.
and you know what? Don't even cut them off. You know, put an elastic band around them so they shrivel up.
I don't
and
think
you
they had
can watch
elastic
it.
bands
Tie them.
back in the
Tie 'em up.
1400s. I could
Tie
be
them up
wrong.
with twine.
Twine.
Put some twine.
Castrate them like they do
You
cows
guys are very
nowadays.
strange people.
But think about it. Okay, so, but my whole thing is,
What's your whole thing?
I notice I say that a lot on all the podcasts.
Yeah.
My whole thing.
What is your whole
Is that
thing?
right? Is it catchphrase, man?
Yeah, my whole thing.
What's your whole
is,
thing? I've said it 14 times. Say it.
Even if it was there,
Mm-hmm.
even through slavery and da 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 da.
Right.
Isn't it a little demeaning if someone's just discussing how slavery in the U.S. was a fucked up thing, and they're having the discussion on it? It's a little demeaning to be like, yeah, well, calm down because Africans were selling Africans too. Like it seems
No,
like
what I-
that's
what I
a,
think
no,
the-
not you,
yeah,
not you
yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
But I think like there's a lot when it comes to white versus black, that's a lot of the rhetoric, and they're throwing in the Irish indentured servants. It kind of feels like to me it's like you feel a little guilty, and you want to take some of that pressure off of you that wasn't really being put on you.
No, I don't think that's it. I think the whole thing is, at least for me bringing it up, is you need to understand the full context of something and actually what happened, right? Because there's been so much spin and so much misinformation on it, and then you have, Moonbeam Sunshine Sister, blah, 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 coming out of Harlem going, well, Africans invented everything. No, they didn't, you idiot. Right? And we were all kings and queens. No, you weren't. Right? Maybe a tribe had a king and a queen. That's it. They were the king and the queen. Everybody else was not a king and a queen. Right? So, but this is what I'm saying. Right? That's kind of off on a tangent. But
This whole episode is a tangent.
yes, this whole episode is
I
a tangent.
believe that black people come from kings and queens. Not
Every single one of them.
every single one of us come from kings and queens. Now, not
What
the
about
fact,
white people?
Not the fact that
So why is Africa unique in that way?
not the fact that we are all descendants of the king or a queen, but I do feel like Africa was a very royal and regal place. Like it's a whole different aspect. Like we're not, and it's even saying we come from kings and queens is just to remove the rhetoric of we were just running around in loincloths, chucking spears and shit like that. Like what the Westerners wanted, like the gods must be crazy type vision that they
What a
give
great
of-
movie.
of
That's a
people
good sequel.
Africans.
That's a hell of a movie.
God must be crazy.
You know
Too
what I'm
hell of a
saying?
sequel.
That's a horrible movie. But it's one of those things where it's like being black, you have to kind of dispel that myth. You're like, well, no, Africans aren't.
Who are you,
Yeah, but-
who are you,
this is the problem.
who are you dispelling it to, though? Are you dispelling it for yourself, your own people? Or are you dispelling it for the rest of the world as well? Because I think and the reason I say that is because I think most of the I hate this. I'm gonna sound really fucked up here. Most of the bad intentions from black people, especially over here, it seems like it just goes around the community and doesn't really proliferate anywhere else, right?
What do you mean bad?
Like there's this mindset in the black community that you are, what's the best way to put this? That you're obviously trying to lift each other up. I get that. We're all trying to lift each other up. But to have this, we all come from kings and queens, that to me, and this might be just me, that just says to me, we are better than you.
No.
And I know
Well,
that's not
no,
what
not
I
even
know that's
close.
not what you
No,
mean.
But if that's what it says to you, that's a you problem.
No, that's why I said I understand that, right? But I just think that it could, maybe it's just not me that would think that way.
Then if other people think that way, they need to change their way of thinking.
Okay, well, and that's the case. You have to do a better job of explaining why you think that way.
No, you don't. If that's the way you think, you don't have to. If a white dude comes up to me and says, "Hey, I'm a descendant of Viking kings and lords," and that's how they feel because of their heritage, or if they have Norse heritage or anything like that, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, so you think you're better than me?" If my mind state is, "Oh, you think you're better than me," my mind state is part of the problem of why people don't look at themselves in a higher light.
Right. And
everybody should look at themselves in a higher
Oh,
light.
I 100% agree with that.
Right.
And it's not up to them to explain to you, or not you specifically.
Yeah, no, I get you.
It's
I get what
not
you're
up to
saying.
them to explain to the other person why they feel that way.
The way, and I'm just gonna say it really boldly. It's and blunt. It's if the
Y'all know how sorry to interrupt, but y'all know my feelings on the origination of man and their species. Y'all,
Right.
I'm not getting into all that.
No, we don't have to.
I don't
My-
think
my-
we need to get
I'm
into
sober.
that.
my mind, my mind is
Yes,
just going to
I've
this
gone
place
through
where
the rant.
my mind always keeps going back to feelings don't equal facts.
Okay.
No matter who's saying it, right? Whether it's a black guy or a white guy saying is of Norse heritage or bloodline, right? If you're saying that we're all kings and queens, I understand what you're saying is just a mindset to be in. To me, that just still says, well, it's not true.
Right, and your feeling doesn't equal facts. A, we don't know. No one's spit into a cup and mailed it off to Ancestry.com. B,
I don't want the fucking government having my
both
information.
of neither do I. I agree with you 100%. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They just arrested some dude because his half sister did it.
His half brother.
Yeah, his half brother did it.
Yeah, rape charge. Yeah.
And he should have got arrested. I mean, that's a good case of it, but at the end of the day, I don't want my shit in there. Your mindset, the mindset of we come from kings and queens, is equivalent to your mindset of, well, you don't know if you come from kings and queens, so I feel like you're saying you're better than me. That's two mindsets that aren't based in fact. That's two mindsets that are based off of how someone personally feels.
Right, but what I'm saying is that I won't say that because I don't know. You will say that even though you don't know.
Right, but okay, that's true. Me telling you that's how I feel is not me telling you that you need to say this.
I get it. No, I get that.
I feel like black people come from kings and queens. I feel like I come from kings and queens. I feel like I have the blood of a slave and the heart of a king. I feel like I have the mindset of a multi-billion-dollar media mogul. That's not facts, but that's my mindset. I have
absolutely. There's nothing wrong.
People's minds.
Yeah. No,
Sometimes people's mindset may not be based in fact, but it may be based in their ambition.
I 100%
This
agree
is
with
my
that.
problem, though. The problem isn't your mindset. I can completely agree with. Right? You have certain goals you want to shoot for, and you're looking at it in the way of, if I want to achieve this goal, I have to have this mindset. Right? The problem I have is the insincerity of we all came from kings and queens. These people are stating it as fact, but they are not acting like royalty.
Right.
Right? They're actually acting like a bunch of idiots.
Right.
Right?
Cardi
So
B.
the whole problem is if you think that is where you came from, then act that way. Hold yourself with dignity and respect.
And I agree with
Right?
you. I agree with you. Those specific people. I mean, with the people that be like, we come from kings and queens, and next thing you know, they're doing world star fights and smacking people. And
Exactly.
da.
I'm a
But
king. You're not a king, you idiot.
You got to think like in the States, especially the southern states, slavery and how black people originated from where it was before to where it is now is a huge contrast
You
in a
almost
short
have to-
a short period of time.
you
So you
almost
really have to like
that mindset, yeah.
over exaggerate your blessings to kind of counteract the curse type thing. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I disagree.
That's going back.
But
to
that's
what we said.
you don't have to. But that's a human mind state. That's
Right,
how
right.
humans cope.
Yeah.
That's how
And that's-
everybody copes. That's
that-
how people cope with PTSD.
That takes
Yeah.
it back to 3 weeks ago when I said, or 2 weeks ago when I was saying the overcorrection in society is responsible for the detriment we're in now, right? The overcorrection in, let's stick on the racism or slavery, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And racism. If black people were enslaved by white people in the United States, right, and some in Canada, if now it's an overcorrection where you can't say anything that would hurt a black person's feelings without it being called racist. That's an overcorrection.
Yeah, because
Right.
the immediate assumption is you did it because you're racist.
Yes, and
Right?
instead,
No, I did it because the dude
But
looked
it's
at
not
me
as
sideways.
it's not as
first.
bad now as it was in the 90s and 2000s.
No,
in the
it's
90s and
not.
2000s, the because I'm black thing was huge.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was completely detrimental to, and like I said, it leads to what we're in now.
That's why we have the race card.
We're two polarized sides, right? And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if I can't even look at somebody with however I want to look, like John said on the last podcast, you know, and you're gonna just call me racist because I wear a fucking if I choose to wear a MAGA hat, you're gonna call me racist because I wear a MAGA hat. I understand we had this discussion before what the MAGA hat represents, but it's still just an article of clothing. I understand that, but so is a Ku Klux Klan hood. You know what I mean?
So is a red bandana,
And a
blue
crip,
bandana.
yeah.
Like you wear a blue bandana on Cedar Block, you're really not telling anybody. Well, it's just a bandana. You know, and that's the thing where it's like we can have these discussions, but I feel, and this is me personally, I'm gonna paint us all with the brush. I feel like everything we discuss on this is going to be unless we get statistics and blah blah blah, but it's just going to be feelings based off of fact, based off what we've seen or what we've heard from secondhand speak, right? Because I've never,
It's absolutely subjective.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I understand I understand what this side's saying, I understand what this side's saying, and I'm not even in the middle. I'm somewhere over here because the racism we get in Canada, in Alberta especially, is different. It's like you walk into a pub and it just goes quiet. And then nobody's saying anything to you until they're drunk. And you know they're being racist. Whereas in the States, racism is really racism.
Is that racism or
covert.
fear of the unknown?
If someone comes up to me drunk and starts saying nigga jokes.
Oh yeah. Oh, you didn't specify that.
And no, I didn't specify that. But I mean, like,
Okay,
you're in a
then
pub
yes,
and
then
some people
yes,
are drunk
that's
and they come up
racist.
to you and you know they're being racist.
I thought you meant if they come up to you, they're drunk and they come up to you and start a conversation. Like you just said, they come up to you and start saying things when they're drunk. You didn't say racist stuff. So
Yeah, but
my apologies.
usually, I mean, this is a clever assumption to know that if you in there and everything's cool, and then all of a sudden people don't come up to you till they're drunk, they're not coming up to you to have a conversation when they're
But
drunk.
then, okay, by the same token, I spun in hip hop clubs all my life, right? And it was one of those things where you walk in there and it's really and truly all African Americans and Caribbean people, right?
ducks.
And then one white dude walks in, and you literally feel the same thing. You
Yeah.
feel everybody's eyes stop and look at the white guy coming in, going,
Why is a white dude here?
"What's happening?" So would that be racist too then?
Yeah. No, not the stopping. The stopping and looking is not what I'm saying is racist.
Yeah.
Like there's still, like, Alberta's really covert with the racism. It's quiet. It's not racist. It's just like, what's he doing here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't his area type thing. Not saying you can't be here. Not saying leave, white
he's
boy,
just a
leave,
stranger
nigga. It's just
and
like, you a stranger.
he's not one of the
and you're
regulars in this pub.
you're-
What's up?
You don't look like us, so we're gonna right?
Yeah.
But as soon as a drunk black dude goes up to him and says, "Hey, white boy, crack ass motherfucker, come here, white boy," and start antagonize him and
too,
putting
yeah.
that out, yeah, that's racism. And it's not reverse racism, because reverse racism is not racism.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Something that's reverse something, like the reverse Flash should be going slow, but he doesn't. I don't get it.
He's called the snail.
Right? No, the reverse Flash is actually just the Flash in the yellow costume
Who runs
who's
the opposite
evil.
way?
No, he runs straight.
He runs backwards.
He's exact same as the Flash, except he's evil and wears a yellow costume.
And
That's
he's
what
called
trips-
Reverse Flash?
Reverse Flash. So trips me out. He doesn't reverse shit. But
Not
that's
even-
the thing.
not even
Reverse
back to
Flash
Sarah.
is the epitome of reverse racism.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
No sense. Reverse racism should just be not
Not
racism.
racism. Yeah.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Malik. Reverse racism.
Yeah. What's up, Chan?
You want to
Good.
go get a
How are
drink?
you?
Yes. Reverse racism. Bum, bum. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what my
what
point
were you
was.
saying?
No, my point is, what were we talking about again?
Racism.
Racism's fucked. It's funny sometimes too, though. Like, racism really has some comedic. Like, think about it this way: there's a bunch of white dudes who burn crosses, ride horses in white hoods that don't like black people, and that's their commonality. Like, that's what brings
That's
them
what-
together.
that's-
Like, if
yeah.
they didn't have that, they wouldn't have this little club.
Well, just as awkward, us black people wear, well, in the, let's say 2000s, wore baggy jeans and spoke with a slang and want to be rappers. That puts us in
I
a
did
different
not
category.
speak. I never spoke with
That
that, type
wasn't-
of slang.
That wasn't an exclusion. We didn't. Our common
And we called white dudes that wanted to be us wiggers too.
white people that
Wanted to be black.
No. A wigger is a white dude who goes out of his way to pretend like he's black. And we never called a white dude a wigger until the N-word tried to leave his mouth because he was trying to like you talk to Chris or talk to IP, talk to Know How, talk to all of our white friends that dress just like us and talk just like us weren't called wiggers.
No, the wiggers, obviously I know that.
The wiggers,
what
wigger thing is different. We didn't burn Stars of David. And
no, we burned trees.
And with them.
Yeah.
With them. I know dudes from Brooklyn that are white as hell. Crumbs is from New Jersey, white as hell. Never said the N-word, and he's blacker than all of us.
Yeah, that's like my boy Delphi all the time. I talk about my boy Delphi. He's that dude was raised in in all black communities. That dude is part of the culture, right?
The only
that's what I'm saying is that culture, the KKK culture, is just as fucked up as black hip hop culture.
It's not.
No, I would agree with Will on that.
The black hip hop culture. I'm not
saying it's racist. I'm saying just a different sides of the barrier.
Not even
crazy.
I don't think you could compare them.
Hip hop culture is 176% all inclusive.
It's
I'm not saying the racism part. I'm just saying the fucked up dichotomies, like the things that they do.
No,
if
you gotta
look at it objectively. Like that's a fucked up culture.
It's not, because if you look at it objectively, the things that they do kill niggas and Jews, kikes, gays, fags, all them shits. Smoke weed, listen to rap music. Eminem is the highest fucking seller. Sammy Davis Jr. isn't the highest selling KKK member, but Eminem is the highest selling. I don't understand your comparison with the dichotomies. The thing that they have in common, we hate niggas. The thing that they have in common, we love urban culture.
I'm not
breakdancing.
Yes, it's all you look at the foundation of it.
Let me break it down.
I know motherfuckers that love hip hop just because they listen to an Eminem song, and next thing you know, they just love black people. I know motherfuckers that hated black people and then just started hanging out with black people and love black people. I don't know one KKK dude.
I was just taking the comparisons that you made, riding horses, wearing white hoods, burning crosses.
You're looking at the accoutrements of it.
I'm looking at the accoutrements rather than what they believe. I'm looking at what the mindset is. The mindsets are completely different, but
yes, polar opposites,
right? But you look at the crazy shit that they do and how the way they dress, they ride horses, they burn crosses, right? Kill niggers.
Well, I guess you could say there is a comparison then, because in hip hop they talk about killing niggas too. I don't know.
Right, but I don't understand. What's the comparison?
I'm being absolutely facetious.
I'm just saying that the weird clothes, the way we speak, it's just a strange comparison. I can't believe I'm comparing KKK and fucking hip hop culture.
The way we speak is like different types of slang brought in from different people. And hip hop culture evolves.
Right.
So even those comparisons, even if you say the way we dress is different now than it was 10 years ago, than it was 10 years before that.
I get
so
that.
I'm trying to figure out the comparisons don't even match.
I'm just saying the extremes at which they're on two polar opposite sides, right? What I'm saying is the extremes and how these guys dress and what they do and this and that is comparable to the extremes that hip hop culture has too.
I disagree.
No, that's the exact same as saying the extremes that the KKK does is the extremes that the California Bar Association of Lawyers has. They talk different, they dress different, they have a different mindset, and they all speak the same type of language. That's the exact same thing as compared to this. I don't understand this. The comparison doesn't add up. It doesn't match. I don't get it.
I agree with Will.
I don't get it. I don't understand. You have to help me understand
the social minorities that we have, right? They're comparable in many aspects. In every single social minority, it can be compared to each other. Whether I'm not talking the racist fact, I'm not talking about how.
So tell me, okay, I understand what you're not talking. So in order to help me understand you, I need to know what you are talking. What's the comparison?
I'm talking the degree in which the actions occur. Let's call it like that. Okay?
What?
Let me tell you something.
Wait. Hold on.
I'm confused.
The KKK's actions, you can't take racism out of it. You can't, because
I'm not talking. You're
saying I'm not talking about.
You said riding horses, how they dress, but the music they listen to, and they're burning crosses, whatever.
Okay, so the burning crosses is a part of racism, so you need to take that out.
Okay, take that out.
The way they dress is a that's their representation of their racism. You need to take that out.
Yeah, and it's also so that they could move covertly.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that most citizens won't know who actually is in the KKK.
Okay.
The music that they listen to at these rallies, I'm pretty sure it's not Tupac. So we need to take that out. You said so, and the actions. Did the KKK doesn't have food drives?
I'm
fam?
just saying.
They don't feed the homeless.
Listen.
No,
Just
but you
hear
said
me out.
the
Hear
actions.
me out.
No, you said no.
Hear-
But the thing, this
don't
is
interrupt
hilarious.
me. Don't interrupt me. Hear me out.
I can't help it. It's
Hear
me.
me out. Hold on. I
I just
saying.
want to know the way that what actions. What actions are occurring.
I'm just saying, they're complete polar opposites. If you take them, you can compare them as polar opposites. If you get what I'm saying.
So if you take everything that they're about out of the equation, you can compare them to each other.
I think a better comparison. No. I think a better
it's like
comparison
talking
because
to a wall.
no. This is the thing. You can't compare a culture like the hip hop culture to a racist movement, which is not necessarily a culture.
Take the nation-
I disagree with that. I disagree with that 100%.
I'm saying like this, the
I
only
disagree.
the comparison
South
that
of the
makes
United
sense.
States has a culture. That's a racist culture. Whether
Yeah.
it's,
No,
it's a word we put on it,
The
right?
South is not a racist culture.
The South has a culture of racism.
Thank you. Has a culture of racism. That is the culture, right? Being in the hip hop culture, that's the culture of the hip hop of hip hop community, of a black
I think
community.
a better, not a.
I'm
it's
saying black.
different.
I'm saying black
a
generally.
better comparison would be the Nation of Islam.
Oh, there's a bunch of
Yes,
better comparisons. I was just trying to
absolutely.
make my
And the
comparison
KKK.
stick, dog.
The Nation
You
of
can't.
Islam and the KKK.
That's a dumb comparison.
Fuck that! I will make a stick.
No,
goddammit.
you
No,
can't.
I'm telling you like this. If you have a movement to where Malcolm X at his most extreme goes to where they say you need to go to be a better Muslim, and Malcolm X comes back and says,
I saw white people there.
I don't think this movement of Muslim is the one that's right. I need to leave. If Malcolm X at his most extreme leaves,
Right.
if Jeffrey Dahmer doesn't want to sit down at your dinner table, you ain't cooking
You
right.
talk about the Nation of Islam, though, not
Yeah.
hip hop culture.
No, but I'm saying the Nation of Islam is a better comparison
Okay,
to the
no,
KKK.
No, I get that. There's a lot of better comparisons. I'm just trying to say that there is a comparison. You can compare certain aspects of each culture, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're equal.
So basically the comparison is two groups
you don't put words in my mouth.
I did that, didn't I? Two groups of like-minded people that hang out together.
Yes.
So you can compare the KKK to Digital Diamond Network?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't say it was a
No,
good
I didn't- no,
comparison.
no,
nigga.
I'm just saying
what I
is-
said is that you could compare
No,
the 2
I'm
groups.
really
like-minded individuals.
I'm really Afghan in your comparison. I'm holding it all the way up, fam.
You
Like,
might be Liberian, man.
Yo, no, Afghan as far as the blanket, the whole blankets with the holes. The Afghans, not you are really racist.
Yo, I'm just trying to listen. I'm
Nah, I don't. No,
What
I can't even
try-
say. I can't even say. I see what you're saying because
What I'm-
really,
what I'm
you really
trying
lost
to
me
do-
with that, man.
what I'm trying to do is get I'm not trying to make a point. What I'm trying to do is show an example that there is racism everywhere. Right? Yes, there are two different groups with like hanging out with like-minded people. But there is racism in each group. Different racism.
So you're saying there's
Two-
race
and different extremes.
You're saying there's racism in hip hop culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Towards other music cultures, towards other races, everything. That's what I'm saying, right?
You can only be racist against a race.
Right.
That's why it's called racism. Shut up. What do you mean racism
Shut up.
against other music cultures?
Prejudice.
Prejudice against other cultures.
Yeah,
or
well,
racism.
it does exist.
So
is that your point?
yeah,
Okay, I agree with you.
Okay,
I
thank
don't agree
you.
with your comparison.
the comparison stands.
The comparison makes no sense. All you could have
I
just
agree with Will.
just say, hey, you know, hip hop culture has racism in it. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, cool.
That's not.
Then my voice wouldn't hurt.
Fuck your voice, John. What I was just saying. I'm gonna fill you in. You just stepped into the room. I was just saying. This is what the conclusion came down to.
This is
Parnell's conclusion.
This isn't even a conclusion. This is what the
This is what I should have
This
said.
is the compromise.
Right.
This is what I should have said.
Right.
The comparison is two groups
Yes.
of like-minded individuals hanging out with each other.
Yes.
That was pretty much the comparison.
So then you
and
can
that
you
there's
can
racism on
then-
both sides.
Then you can you can compare the KKK to anything you want. then.
I didn't say it was a good fucking comparison. And yes, and before I started, I said you can
Exactly what I
and
It's,
said.
it's pretty
all-
much saying it's a group of humans hanging out with a group of
I
humans.
said that when I
So-
said
that-
I said that
have
when
a
I
common
said
interest.
a cultural minority
So-
can be compared to every other cultural
so
minority.
tell us, can be comparable to the KKK.
So the KKK
No.
and
Parnel, I usually agree with you, but in this case, I need to
before-
pump the brakes a
So
little
before
bit.
that
Chess
whole
club
stop,
at
before this whole thing
Henry
started.
Wisewood High
Hold
School.
on a second. Before
They're
this
just
whole,
like the KKK,
before this, go ahead, clown me, niggas.
because why? Because they like chess,
and they exclude checkers.
right? But there's racism in that culture against checkers.
Their boards go black, white, black, white, black, white, not white, black, white, black,
No,
white.
you
black.
can't. You
Fuck
can't
the
compare
Chubby
them.
checker.
You cannot compare those two because I don't think there's racism in a chess team.
There probably is if
Well,
there's
there
a
might
human
be.
in it.
It might be Asians, a bunch of Asians being.
I don't know. See, that's
That's so racist.
What all I was saying is that before I started that whole thing, I said any cultural minority can be compared to each other, right? And
We understand, but what was the point of saying that?
because I wanted to prove a point to our listeners that racism is everywhere, not just coming from the white side.
But I was specifically talking about the KKK, and you see now this is no. We're gonna go back to
Okay.
weasel words.
Okay.
We're gonna go back to weasel words. We're gonna go back to subconsciously pushing the agenda. Now,
Okay.
as soon as I said something about KKK and racism, the first thing you jumped to was a comparison to hip hop culture.
No, that's not what I first jumped to.
No, that was you said
no,
when I said something about the KKK. You first
No,
jumped
no,
to the way we dressed back then could be comparable to the KKK.
No. We were talking about something else, and I jumped to 5 other conclusions in my head first, and I made the
okay,
comparison
but
in my head before I was able to verbalize it.
No, okay, so you would like me to understand where you went to in your head before you verbalized it to us?
No, what,
The first thing you went to was
that's the first thing I said, not the first thing I went to. There is a difference.
No, you know what? We're not politicking this.
No, All
You
right,
just no
don't
from
politic it.
that statement right there just proves my point.
Okay. What was your point?
No, we're done. That was my point. Like as soon as I've tried to tell you exactly where you went and where you pulled the listener to, and what conclusion the listener would have drawn from that. And the first thing you said was that's not the first place I went to because I had different things on my head.
Okay,
it's creating the false narrative.
It's not a false narrative. What I was trying to do
as soon as you
was
take
take this conversation in a
That's a
different direction.
But that you can't take a conversation in a different direction if we're speaking specifically on one thing, and it wasn't even going on white people. All white people are racist. I think the whole conversation was something else, and the KKK was just a topic of comparison. But as soon as you compare it to something that is not even comparable to, and you pull people into that comparison and make them think about that one side subject in something that's not even comparable,
Out of context.
That's a
Wait,
that's a false narrative. And then the explanation for the false narrative was it's not the first thing that you went to, it's just the first thing that you said. That's what's happening. That could have been something that's what we were the last week's episode is what we were just combating against is what you just did, whether it was purposely or not. I'm not sitting here saying that you did it on purpose, but that's exactly what happened.
No, I don't think that's true, and let me explain why. The narrative, the outcome of that conversation was not to, and like you said it was probably subconscious. I don't even think it was subconscious. My goal for that was to take this conversation from racism into something other than what we've been talking about on the podcast for the last 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. Right? I was trying to make a comparison and segue out of that. You took something out of that I had no intention of meaning. Right?
Regardless of the intentions and meaning, I know exactly what your intentions
right.
are.
And instead of letting me finish my thought and trying to verbalize it, I had it in my head. I for some reason I can think about things before I can verbalize them. Right? I've had this conversation with John many times. I have a lot of things in my head that I have it worked out in my head, but I do not know how to say it. Mm-hmm. Right? What I was trying to get to is that the comparisons were not, and I said this before I started. You can compare any cultural minorities. Right? The comparisons are not going to be big, or the similarities are not going to be big. They may not be even there at all, but you can compare them by their differences.
You completely lost me now.
That is still a misdirection. That's a smoke and mirrors. The explanation made somewhat sense to someone who knows you. B, it's a smoke and mirrors. That was all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, it's not accurate.
Because
Okay, then what would be
because
accurate?
we know you. We know you.
hold on.
If
What would
you
be
want to
accurate?
do hip hop culture, an accurate comparison would be, let's say, heavy metal culture, right? Because those are two cultures that are largely based around music first.
Okay.
Right? So you look at the foundations of them and then you build up from that, right? The hip hop culture has its own clothing style. The heavy metal culture has its own clothing style, right? The hip hop culture has its own art style. The heavy metal culture has its own art style. The hip hop culture is largely made up of a certain racial group. The heavy metal culture is largely made up of a certain racial
Everything you
group.
just said about heavy metal, you can compare that to KKK.
No, my point is this. The comparison you're making is completely superficial.
No, what you're doing is basing it on music and not just
No.
a group of like-minded people.
No,
We need to be
no. That's
very,
a
very-
The thing is, saying like-minded people is a superficial way of looking at it, because like-minded can mean anything.
Listen, I didn't say it was a good comparison.
But
That's
no,
what I'm
but-
trying to
but
get
we
at.
need-
I'm
but
not saying
good-
I'm not saying that it is not a comparison. That's my whole point.
Okay.
It's not a good comparison.
you
And we
guys,
need to be
you guys
careful,
have
but the
taken
thing
my
is-
segue and made
No,
this
but we
a
have
huge,
to. We have.
and made this a huge
It's
deal.
one of
when
those
it
things
wasn't
that we
supposed
have.
to be.
We have to, because at the end of the day, and you would have done it to me, and John would have done it to you, vice versa. If we would have went on that same thing, it would be the same thing regardless. We have to be extremely careful in how we present things to our listeners, because at the end of the day, regardless of our tongue in cheek, never biting our tongue, and the way we are just out there, we still have to be 100% careful with our narrative. Because if we put out a narrative that makes someone that's just glancing over audioly, if you say and they just throw in KKK, like glancing over audio, so you're just listening,
Yeah,
you're not really
yeah.
paying attention, you're not really analyzing it, you're just listening. And you put KKK in the same range of hip hop culture, or even saying the KKK is and you can compare them to heavy metal culture. Right there, you're implementing you're planting a seed in their head of false narrative. When you could say, well, when you want to do a comparison, even if it's not a good comparison, it's not a good comparison. Okay, cool. We all know it's not a good comparison.
Hence the reason why people will say you're comparing apples to oranges. Everybody knows what that means. You don't need to actually explain that further. That's the analogy you made. Yeah, you could go further and say, well, that's fruit and fruit. But you're just completely missing the point and being
And as
willfully
soon as you
ignorant.
say, as soon as because the thing is, if someone is overanalyzing it, they're gonna say, well, there's a reason why you specifically chose hip hop
Okay.
culture when it was an argument against
Okay.
the KKK. Now someone's gonna be
Okay,
overanalyzing
all right.
it and
I
thinking that you're
chose-
pushing an agenda, which
I
we all
chose-
know you're not.
I chose hip hop culture because it was the first thing that popped into my head. What I should have said was black culture, not just hip hop culture.
not even.
can't.
Stop. Just let me fucking explain for a second. Because you guys are telling me I'm making a false fucking narrative when I was trying to get to a point.
We're not
And
telling you you're making a false narrative.
Stop. You just told me. I was trying to push a false
That's
narrative.
not what I
even,
said.
Even though it was
So
subconscious.
we're gonna
you said
explain
I
it
pushed-
again. No, we're
Stop.
gonna explain it
Stop.
again.
Let
No,
me
we're not,
explain-
because
let me
you're
explain
telling
my
me you're putting
fucking
words
point.
in my mouth.
No, okay. Let
I'm
me-
saying
let me
if
explain
somebody
my point.
overanalyzes something, they're gonna misinterpret
I don't
it as
give a
you
fuck if
pushing.
somebody misinterprets what I say. They go back and listen to what I said. That's not what I said at all. They can misinterpret it all they want. If you go back and listen to what I said, I did not try and push a narrative, right? If somebody takes that subconsciously, that's on them, not on me.
It's not that someone's subconsciously saying that you're pushing a narrative. We have a responsibility to be careful with our words. You told me that.
Right.
So when something is said,
Right, so let me-
when something is said and you specifically jump to a point, people are going to come to the conclusion of you're pushing that narrative.
Okay.
Or even if they go back and listen to it, they're going to come to the same conclusion. I'm not saying you're pushing a narrative because I fucking know you.
No, I get that. I get that. What I'm saying is, when I said hip hop culture, it was the first thing that came to my mind because that's where I live.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we live, right? Black culture and KKK are just as racist, not to the extreme of killing people. Hold on, but black people killing black people is what I was trying to get to. That whole fucking thing. And I was trying to work a big fucking workaround to get there, and you wouldn't let me. Stop before you say anything. I was gonna say white people are racist to black people in the KKK, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. There's parts of black culture
I'm listening. I just
that-
can't look you in
and
the
I'm
eyes
not-
when you say this shit.
I'm hesitant to say racist, but
What the fuck is the point?
Stop!
No,
stop,
wait,
stop,
I don't
stop.
want- sorry,
Stop,
I don't
stop,
understand.
stop,
I don't
stop,
understand
stop,
where we're
stop.
going.
Let me get to the fucking point.
This rabbit hole has too many turns. There's too many turns in this rabbit. Okay, keep going, please. No, I want to know what the point. I'm really
curious myself.
I'm saying black people probably hurt their own culture more than any other fucking culture.
I would say that's yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was getting to the whole fucking time, except racism came up and I made a fucking bullshit comparison that I should not have done. All right? And then we went this whole fucking rabbit hole for me to get to that point.
I'm really curious. like
it took a nasty turn when he started fucking coming at me. I'm like, okay, what the fuck's going on?
there was some-
So now I had to defend some fucking bullshit that I didn't mean to say.
But nobody.
you know what I
weird
mean?
detours
I'm not
there.
saying like
Sometimes
I wasn't.
like,
for you
for
just
fuck's sakes.
sometimes
I
you
wasn't-
just gotta hit reverse
Yeah,
and go.
like-
Wait, no, sorry, that's
And,
wrong.
and that's what I just did. I'm like, okay, that comparison was wrong.
I
What
wasn't coming at you. If I don't understand something, I'm going to beat it until I know what the hell I'm looking at.
Right. Do you understand what I'm saying now? I'm sorry.
I understand.
Hold on. I apologize.
No,
for the bullshit comparison.
no.
What
Don't
I was
apologize
trying-
for the
what I was
bullshit
trying to get to is
comparison.
black people
late
have
to
hurt our culture more than
apologize.
any other culture.
Okay, I understand that. Now, I wouldn't say more than any other culture. But I do say black people are a huge detriment to themselves based off of so many different factors that sometimes they don't even. It's subconscious. A, I agree with you. B, what the fuck did that come from?
Because
We weren't even talking
No,
about anybody.
No,
The KKK subject was just. I think I brought up the KKK because I was trying to explain something else, and I think we were just talking about something different.
Right,
it wasn't talking about.
It popped into my head when we were talking about when black were Egyptians were selling off Africans as slaves. They're hurting themselves, right? Middle Easterns or whatever else.
Oh, so
right?
then we can go back to our original point. When someone's
Absolutely.
having a conversation about racism, just leave everything else out. Do not counteract with, well, black people do this. Well, black on black crime is this, and
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
That's
No.
not the conversation.
No,
that's
and
a detriment to the conversation
exactly,
of healing.
No, exactly. But what we were trying to do is bleed out of that conversation of racism and get into something else, right? Trying to segue into something else. And what I wanted to segue into was how we can help our culture instead of being further detriments to it. That's where my segue was going.
I don't. How could we help our culture? Niggas need to stop doing nigga shit.
Like
Dead
I
ass-
understand what you're saying. Yeah.
like nasty ass comparisons I just did. Yeah, you're right.
Niggas need to stop doing nigga shit. Black people, first of all, need to stop thinking that putting money in your own community means not putting money into another community.
Mm-hmm.
Black people need to figure out that if you fought against segregation, don't put yourself back into segregation.
Mm-hmm.
Pick one or the other.
yes.
Black people need to stop comparing their pockets to the pockets of white people.
Yes.
Black people need to stop. They had that video, how to sell to the black man. Stop buying name brands.
Yeah.
Now, we wouldn't be
Yeah,
mad
you
at
want to walk
we
around in
wouldn't-
Gucci
yeah.
shoes and Balenciaga
We wouldn't,
sneakers
yeah,
and
we wouldn't be
whatever.
mad at Gucci and fucking whatever if we still fucking supported Rocawear and FUBU.
Yeah.
Gucci's racist, cool. We got these. We don't need them.
Yeah.
Black owned is cool. Black owned is a wonderful thing. Support black owned. Also support white owned. Support Asian owned. Do you think the Korean man could go into the hood and set up a two successful corner stores? Yes. Can a black person do that? Yes. Will he? No. There's so many things that black people, and some black people blame it on systemic racism. Some black people blame it on slavery. Some black people blame it on black people. Some black people sit there and be like, no, I can't sell to these niggas. These niggas don't know how to act. And they're fucking true.
You know, and
Black people just need to love black people. Black people need to look at what's bringing them down and look at what they could do to bring themselves up. Just black people just love people. Just love. That's
Yeah.
it.
And
Just
I
love.
think in that context too, we also need to define what love really means, right? Because a lot of people think of it as love means I'll support my brothers and sisters by, even if they do something stupid, I won't call them out on it. No. Call them out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
If somebody's doing some bullshit, true love, what it actually means, you care about the person enough that you want to see them do better.
look what
Because
just
you're
hold
guilty
on.
by association.
Perfect
But yeah,
example.
even like, that could become part of
Perfect
it.
example. Look what just happened. Listen to what just happened on this podcast. I went a fucked up route and I got called out on it. Right?
You didn't. Yeah.
No. That's exact. You got to dry pump. That shit sucks.
What?
You got a dry suck on that?
What?
No,
Both those statements.
You were sucking on your vape.
Those two statements have me all fucked up.
No, what I'm saying is on this podcast that I wouldn't any other place I would probably get away with that comparison, right? With you two in this room, I can't, right?
It's because okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's you guys looking out for me.
But
right?
that's just how we are. Like, it's one of
Yeah,
those things where it's like, I
but-
don't want people to start thinking, oh, every time someone talks about racism, peace. Like, you know what I'm saying?
right,
Like,
right, but you're not
because that's not you.
Well, exactly. You're looking out for my best interest. And honestly, I know you said we have to be clear with our words for our listeners, but underlying, I know you were looking out for my best interest.
Well, yeah, I could it's one of those things. We had the reason why we have to be careful is because it is our best interest. You know what I'm saying? If put out a narrative that's not even how we are, people are gonna start thinking that's what we are.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna look at us type of way. So if people
Right.
are looking at you a type of way, then it's like, well, that's not who he is. Just like when I fucking ran to, I had your back. As soon as they, why you letting the white dude say nigga? Why you letting him say nigga? I had your back 354. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, sometimes you have to be like, dog, no. No.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point that we got to, is that, you know, having the wherewithal to call out somebody's bullshit when they're doing something fucked up, especially
Yeah.
in our culture,
Yeah.
needs to change because we're not doing it enough.
No.
Right?
No, and there's that whole culture of, well, don't snitch on whatever. And I understand to a point where that comes from.
47 years, I'm snitching.
Right?
Just saying.
No, there's a... What are we looking
Where's the
at here?
charger that was here?
It's on the top drawer. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand where it comes from, but the realistic the realistic aspect of it is, if you see people pushing drugs in your community, call them out. Right? The police are there for a reason. And some people will look at it and say, well, police will only beat me or whatever the
I
hell,
can't
right?
trust the police. Or fuck the
but
police.
that one,
which is a
even
huge
with
thing
that,
in our
I-
culture. Fuck the police is a huge thing in our culture. I know it was big in Compton.
Well, fuck.
And it had to be.
Yeah, there's sometimes
Yeah.
where fuck the police.
But
is
here,
like,
in,
what the fuck?
here in Calgary,
In most places.
and in most places.
But-
right? In most civilized countries.
Yeah, so here in Calgary, if you see someone pushing drugs in your neighborhood, do what you need to do. Sometimes in the States, you see someone pushing drugs into your neighborhood. That's the same person pushing drugs in your neighborhood. That's the same person that opened up the corner store. That's the same person that is making sure that the kids are getting to school safe. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying?
you see, this is the problem.
That's the fucked
This
up.
is-
Isn't
yeah,
that
this is the
fucked
problem,
up?
right? So you're looking at it going, well, you're doing all these good things. Like there was a dude in Trinidad, possibly one of the most notorious drug dealers in the Caribbean.
Who had his own motherfucking complex there, right?
He had his own complex. He would actually go out and like he would just give people in the community money.
Is that the shower posse dude?
No, that's Jamaica.
okay.
This dude's name was Dole Chady. Right? Dole Chady was, you want to talk about making Scarface look like a rookie? Like, this dude was badass. Right? But the thing is, you're looking at it and you're going, okay, you're doing all of this good stuff, but the foundation, you're literally, you're building nice, a nice room, and you're putting up nice decorations in this house, but at the same time, you're digging out the foundation of the house.
Exactly.
Right?
But they
So-
don't. But the people don't see that because they're
they're caught up in this
they're,
situation.
caught up
they're
in it.
recipients of the generosity,
Yeah,
right?
so then they're like, okay, well, I'm not gonna snitch. 'Cause as soon as I snitch on him,
Yeah.
we're back to struggling, working 8 jobs, and
Or
this is
you're
one of
dead,
the
or
things.
you're dead in the street.
The cycle.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand.
Where does that stem
I
from?
understand.
Well-
Well, you know what? That's another podcast.
Look at how the
entirely,
look.
right?
Yeah, like look how the gang started. And like the Crip gang started as protection from the police and protection from other gangs that were beating up on them.
Yeah.
Money came into play.
Was it an offshoot of the Panthers?
The Crips? No.
No, not the direct offshoot. Was that where they got the idea from, kind of?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No, black people always like to stick together and protect each other. Black
I get
people are
that.
black. I think like black people in the U.S. at the beginning are natural protectors.
Did they see it from maybe the Italians? I know the Italians had a big community first, right? And they had the mob and La Costa Nostra, or whatever the fuck they want to call it. Is
I
that,
don't
But
know.
no,
that-
I don't think that the mafia or mob or organized crime mindset can be traced to anybody in particular.
Yeah.
Right? Everywhere you go in the world, you're going to find some kind of organized crime racket going on, regardless of where you go.
Right.
Right? So I don't think you can look at it and say, well, the Africans got this from the Cosa Nostra. No, who cares where they got it from?
Yeah.
Right? That's just human mindset.
And that's the same thing when we talk about slavery. Like when we talk about slavery, we don't want to know. Well, you guys did it first. Okay, cool. You're like, is that? That's why I feel like when you're having a conversation about slavery with white people, they're like, well, you guys did it first. Are you just sitting there? Okay, cool. Like you're cool then. Like, am I saying that you enslaved us? We just having a conversation about slavery.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases though, what tends to happen is it's brought to someone Caucasian in a way that is not fair. They're not playing by the rules. So someone will bring this to someone, like you could be in a regular conversation with someone. You call someone out who happens to be of a different skin color as you. So I'm projecting here and I'm looking at it from a Caucasian's perspective, right? Excuse me, Rexton Gordon, you didn't do right. That's actually Shabarank's real name.
No, I was gonna say that's a real Caribbean name,
Yes.
Rexton.
Yes.
That's not white to me.
Yeah. right?
That's like you know what I'm saying? Our homeboy Juggus. Like there's
Yes.
names that are just Caribbean.
That's yeah. You hear that and you're like, this person must be Jamaican. Anyway, I don't think you did so and so properly. I'm working with you. I don't think you did so and so properly. Oh, you're racist. No, I'm actually just saying that. But that seems to be the foundation of a lot of these conversations.
Is that
And I think a lot of
still around
go-to.
now? Like, because I feel like that's
absolutely.
a lot of that's died down.
I think
now.
it's a lot worse now.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe it's
Right?
just. You know what? Maybe it's the places that I'm at.
Yeah,
'Cause
you're
I
not
know,
seeing it that way, right?
Because in my even in the corporate culture where my other place, it's so inclusive.
Yeah,
It's
you're
so
not going to see
inclusive
that anymore.
ever, and you think you get suspicious.
Yeah.
It's like you want to see one racist person, so you know life is normal. You know when people, you know when you meet someone that's nice, and you're like, what do
They're
they have
too
up
nice,
their
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, what do you have up your sleeve?
Why are
And
you
they're just-
smiling all the time?
Right? It's the genuinely
What do you
nice
want?
person.
What do you want from me?
But
But I think that's what it comes down to, right? So, a lot of Caucasians are approached on the topic of racism in that insincere way, or in that way where not only do you not have an answer for it, but nothing you say will be a right answer.
right.
Right? So then what do they have to what can they fall back on? They go, well, you're accusing my race of XYZ when you really look at, if you want to bring up slavery and you want to say, well, your race enslaved me, white massa or whatever the hell it is, because a lot of people go that route, right? That's just their default mindset. Right? So what's the retaliation to that? You bring up facts. You go, listen, well, your race enslaved you. And as a matter of fact, it was only the South that had slaves, really, by and large.
Okay.
So what are you gonna do,
Let
right?
me-
So
yes, let me hit you with this. This is where so I understand that viewpoint.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's one of those things where it's like black people just need to sometimes not always hit the race card.
of course, yeah,
Sometimes the race card's needed.
yes.
but with the
Sometimes
race-
when there's race involved, it's needed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
when the race card's needed, you really don't need to reach for it. It's
there.
handed
Let's
to
play
you.
it to you, right? It's on the table. Here you go.
And I got 2 niggas and a spade. Like so, if you
Which also happens to be black. I don't know.
exactly. So let me hit you with this. There's probably like a history to the cards, fam. There's probably like a real if you think back of it, like racism was so crazy, like in the 1900s. It's like I can't fuck with anything these days, except for Jack Daniels and fucking Timberland boots. But
So we can go off on that. The red suits are all native,
right,
and the black suits are all African.
And that's why that's a spade and that's a club, because you hit the spade with a club, but that's a diamond because that's where we killed them, so we get the so and that's a heart because we ate the native hearts and da da da. But listen, let me hit you with this then. Okay, so one of the reasons why Facebook kind of soured me maybe a year or two back, I think I posted something where it was like the state of Georgia finally recognized or apologized for slavery and recognized that almost 100% of their infrastructure and their da-da-da-da was built off the backs of slaves, and they had a big thing about it and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So it was like an article. It was real. I posted it.
yeah.
And then I had one dude, I'm not going to say his name.
His name.
He's a well-known methamphetamine head.
Okay.
And
Parnel.
then no, it's not Parnell. What? But he came and berated the comments with indentured servants, articles about slavery happening, us enslaving each other. So that's where my main focus is. If we're just having a conversation, if I'm just saying, okay, this is an article.
Yeah, that
Slavery
was your
happened,
point. Wasn't that
my
at
point
all?
was
Yeah.
it wasn't that at all.
Let's
And all of a
talk about the
sudden, bang,
article.
bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
I can't remember it too tough to talk too much about it. But so fuck that. That's not the point. Sorry, I didn't mean to say fuck that, but fuck that. The point is, so let's talk. So what do you think about that then? When now they're hitting you with the this, and this. Why would they?
Okay. Now what?
go out of the way
I
to
think
put
what
that
he did
there?
was a deflection, right? A complete deflection.
Because it's not even
So-
like I said, hey, white people, look at this.
Yeah.
I don't
You
even
just
think I had a
posted it and
I don't
then-
even think I had a caption.
Yeah, yeah. I think in his case it was something that he didn't even know the plot, much less lost it, right? And then decided, in my mind, this is what's actually going on.
Like, he's the same person who posts against
think-
Black History Month. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
Like,
I
why
think-
do you get to hit Black History Month? It's like, who cares?
I think
Yeah, you don't need to partake in anything if you don't want to.
yeah, guys
it's
like
not forced
I think,
upon you.
Yeah, guys like that I think have they have this idea in their head about what they think it is and what how it should be, or they think how their acting should be how everybody else is kind of acting.
So do you think that person is racist?
No,
I
I think
don't know
they're
who it is,
I
so
think they're
Do you think that action was a racist action?
I think it was ignorant.
I think he was definitely ignorant. It wasn't racist though. I think what it was is a bad way for him to interact on a post that was related but not on that topic.
And I tell you, like,
Yeah.
yo, he's had. That's a bad way. He's been worse with stuff that like, he's just one of those dudes where you just need to sit down and be like, "Yo, fam,"
Oh, he's an agitator.
for no reason. Probably because he's high.
I'm an agitator for no reason. I'm not high.
Yeah.
Well,
I think you're not an agitator for no reason. I think you think you have a reason.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
I think you believe
you
in your
think.
head you have a reason
you think.
to agitate. But at the end of the day, niggas just like, what did Idol say to you? He's like, no, that's just podcast P, stirring the pot or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Argue with the thing.
I'm gonna argue.
I've seen him argue points that he's not even like for the argument.
Well,
like,
here's the thing. Is
Wow,
sometimes,
playing
listen,
extreme devil's
you
advocate.
have
yeah,
to
for
listen.
there's no point. Like, with like,
Sometimes-
oh yeah, Jay-Z's a good actor or a good rapper. That motherfucker is trash.
Oh, I would never say that. First and foremost.
Trash.
I would actually say that because
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Jay-Z.
But he's a good rapper.
I think he's mediocre at best.
Is he trash?
I think he used to be good.
Yeah.
Good. And that's as good as he got. Not great.
Cut his mic off.
I gotta pee. I don't want to reach over there.
No, sometimes you have to get. I want both sides of the story to be explained, or both sides of the equation to be explained.
Right.
And that's usually how I approach things, right? Because I like to know both sides before I can make an educated judgment on it, right?
Of
or
course,
an educated guess,
absolutely.
whatever it
And
is,
you,
right?
You have to do that, right? It's insincere to look at only one side and then draw a conclusion, right? I think I've lived long enough where I can now. I'm fairly good at spotting. I'm not 100% accurate by any means, but I'm fairly good at spotting BS when it starts rearing its ugly head, right? So, and I think that's why I had an issue with your KKK comparison, right?
Well, listen, I was I know it was a bad comparison, right? I was just simply trying to make an obscure comparison in a segue-like way to get to something I wanted to talk to.
A segue like we.
Yeah, because I was done talking about racism, and we're still talking about it. We've literally talked about racism for the last 4 weeks in some way or another.
Well, yeah, it's a hot topic, and it's something that I don't think will ever go away until literally the mentality of humanity changes, right? But that's impossible. The mentality of humanity will never change. We will always have group preference. We will always have what's the word I'm looking for? National preference,
Right.
That will always exist,
Right.
Until we all look like me
Or me.
or you,
Yeah.
right? Until we're all just some kind of shade of brown.
Right.
And end of story. But that will never happen.
Well, it might happen.
Wow. I think
We're all going to be some shade of brown eventually. Give it 50 years.
50 years?
Maybe 200 years.
50 years is
I think
Listen.
3 generations.
the nation of Trinidad and the nation of Guyana have had more than 3 generations of people there.
Right.
And you still have black people, you still have white people, you still have
Right,
Chinese
right.
people.
I think, no, but what I'm saying is
right?
eventually we're all going to be this very mediocre.
mediocre.
beige.
Mediocre beige. My beige is not mediocre, sir.
Bunch of waffle-colored children.
Yeah.
We talking about the
The eventual
Interracial breeding?
full race blending of humanity.
No, I'm definitely on that. Why are these so gritty? Like it's
I don't know. It came out of the. I don't know what happened. Talk your shit.
No, I've definitely been saying that from jump. Like at the end of the day, we're all just gonna be beige.
Absolutely, but I don't think it's going to be in 50 years.
50?
No, I said
That's what he
I said
said.
200. I corrected myself.
I don't even think it's gonna
Dick.
be
It has to be a
200.
generational thing. Like
That's why I said 3
in
generations.
50 years, like my kid's gonna be 55. Like
Yeah. Everybody get to sleeping with someone of a different race right now.
now,
Now.
Make terrible decisions.
repopulate like double the population of Earth with little daddyless beige waffle-colored kids.
Speaking about being bad for ourselves,
What? I've been drinking since 10.
oh, no, I'm talking about black people leaving their kids.
Well, I've never left one of my
I'm
kids.
not talking about you.
I'm black people.
You're kind of black people.
Who's this comparison to the KKK?
Listen, I already compared hip hop culture to the KKK.
No,
then I compared
dog,
black people to the KKK.
You compared everything to the KKK.
And you know what? They all
basically.
fucking made sense.
It made no sense. Listeners, don't listen to Parnel. It made no sense.
By rules of exclusion, which may not be a real thing, but I'm just making that up and it sounds professional.
Rules of
By
exclusion.
rules of exclusion,
Listen, there's
everything
diversity
is
in everything.
comparable to the KKK.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything.
Every single thing.
Yeah.
By your logic, yes.
This six
Listen,
pack.
I didn't say it was good fucking
that
logic. We went
car,
through this.
that car you drive, Parnel, is comparable to the
'Cause it's
KKK
white.
because it's white.
Yeah.
This six pack. of beer
Parnell's
is
mom
grouped
is
together.
comparable to the
Yeah,
KKK.
'cause she white.
This 6 pack of beer is grouped together.
Yeah.
It all tastes the same.
Yeah, but they don't have like minds. They're
They have the
inanimate
same
objects.
uniform on.
Parnell, I don't mean to alarm you, but we just had 2 members of the KKK come and sit down
No,
in
no,
the
they're
room
comparable.
with us.
They are comparable. Okay,
They're both
they're the same
Caucasian
skin
women.
tone.
Same skin tone. Have you guys seen Black Klansman?
Yes,
No.
it's fucking
Yo,
hilarious.
that's one of my favorite movies. That movie's
great.
Black linesman.
Black
The Klansman.
Oh, Black
It's about the
Klansman.
guy that infiltrated the KKK. Remember I was telling you about that guy?
Yes, and I have yet to see any
And
concrete
now they've
evidence
made a
of
movie.
it.
Yeah, he's there. I gotta fucking pull up the.
Yeah,
It's a dope movie, actually.
yeah.
It's
I think we
hilarious.
should all go back and watch The Gods
Why
Must
do I
Be
smell
Crazy.
bubblegum?
No.
And
Your shit.
are you kidding me,
That
man?
movie made me mad when I was a kid.
That that is one of the.
Which
That
one?
is one of.
Gods Must Be Crazy.
Gods Must Be Crazy is a classic.
Number 2 is way better than number 1.
They're both classics. They're both classics.
I'm actually gonna go home before I come back here tonight. I'm gonna go home and watch Casino.
You're not even African. Why do you hate that movie?
A, because I don't need to be African to see people that look like me. B, there's Africans somewhere. C, it's fucking rude.
How's it rude?
That movie is really rude.
Yeah, but it was made what 1970,
I have no idea.
80,
60, 70.
1980
Nah,
something.
it wasn't
I don't care
Yes.
when it was made. It's hilarious.
Yes.
Both
fucking
of them were made in the 80s.
It's slapstick
You know what else?
comedy.
You know what else was
Stop
made in
being
the 80s?
so sensitive.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
That was made in the 80s too.
That's a hilarious movie too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crocodile Dundee, also a horrible movie and very
Never saw
rude.
I love Crocodile Dundee.
Never
Oh
saw
my
it.
gosh,
Listen,
Crocodile
you-
Dundee.
listen,
I've met
you need to
so
stop
many
being so
Australians
sensitive.
that were nothing like Crocodile or Dundee.
Listen, stop being so sensitive. We had the
I'm
conversation.
not sensitive just because I don't like something.
Yeah, you're.
No, I'm not.
Let
If
me-
I watch something and it offends me,
I think you're a member of
I'm
the
gonna go about my
KKK,
business.
You might be KKK.
I might be. I do have white sheets, but I have to wash them.
They do have holes in them though.
No, they do. Yeah. Yo, I tell you about. Yo, I'm not gonna tell you which one.
Hey babe,
But-
look at the new glory hole I have.
One of my
It's in the sheet.
one of my kids' moms dressed up the kid as a ghost and used the corner of the sheet and put it on. I was like, no, no. What's wrong with it? That's not a ghost. Don't use the corner of the damn sheet and put it up on the top. And it was point. I said, no, change this kid's ghost costume because the kid looks like a little grand dragon.
Hey, how did you feel about the
Can't have a black kid dressed up.
the H&M sweater? Was it the shirt that had the monkey on it and a black kid wearing it?
The coolest monkey in the jungle.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that?
When I first saw it, I was like, what the fuck? Who the fuck let this go? And then I thought about it, and I'm like, and then I talked to my dad about it because it was one of those things where it's like, there's so much outrage. I had to ask someone if I should be mad.
No, you shouldn't be mad.
Okay, so I talked to my dad about it. My dad's like, do we not all call the kids monkeys? I'm like, yeah. He's like, cool. He's like, you know what? Some idiot let it slip through and knew some idiot that should have known that it would piss a lot of people off. Let it slip through. It's not da. So yeah, I wasn't mad about that.
What about the Katy Perry sandals or shoes with the black on the shoe?
I'm
That
mad.
looks like blackface.
I'm mad. First of all, it doesn't look like you saw my post. I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
black people are reaching. This doesn't look like blackface. B, I'm mad at Katy Perry for even passing these things, calling them shoes.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
they
saying.
look ugly.
They're
I think
not-
that's the offensive
Yeah.
part. They're
Yeah.
ugly shoes.
They look like something that's coming out of Mr. Dressup's tickle trunk to tell me about my daily activities.
And I know how you feel about the Gucci sweater, but tell me.
Huh?
Tell the listeners how you feel about the
Oh,
Gucci
the one
sweater.
with the weird turtleneck.
Okay.
I want to hear it.
With the big
I
lips
want you
on
to
it.
put this on record.
There's something right here.
Because we're gonna go.
Somebody
'cause
from
we have to
Gucci-
yell at each other at least twice.
Somebody from Gucci did this shit on purpose. There's no way you could pull that shit up over and see it and be like, yo, fam, that looks like Fetch and Catch 'em. Or Catch and Fetch It. Like, they probably put out, they probably had like a whole ensemble. There's tap shoes. The shirt.
They had a
A
banjo.
bow tie. I don't know. And
Curly wigs.
Right? And then everybody, and they have a little thing, and everybody in the back had to laugh into a barrel. Like, at the end of the day, it looks exactly like blackface. It's stupid. I don't think Gucci is racist, but at the end of the day, this was a fucked up shirt, and someone should have said, hey, don't they have quality control?
I don't know. I'm gonna go a little deeper because you notice that Gucci sweater and those Katy Perry shoes came out kind of at the same time.
No, the Katy Perry shoes came out 3 years ago. Just a meme came out about it.
Really? Yeah.
Katy Perry shoes are 3 years old. They didn't even come out because there's outrage, but there's an outrage about the shoe. The shoe's ugly as hell.
Yes.
They're 2 years
One's
ago.
black, one's white. It's weird.
The Katy, yeah, there's different colors of it. There's a black shoe, a white shoe, and a beige shoe.
the black shoe and white shoe.
That is so weird. But what I really think it is, and this is actually no, I really don't think this is it. But what it could possibly be, let's get into conspiracy theory here.
They're testing,
Right?
they're gauging the climate.
Let's gauge the climate. Right? What it
Dog,
could
if
be.
I tell you that shit, they cross my mind too. I'm like, If all did they put out a bunch of racist shit at the same time to see where we're at?
Yeah.
And if something slips through, it slips through. Like,
Or what it could also be is Gucci's just going, well, let me see what black people would buy when I
Yeah.
get passed by them. You know?
we have a rapper with an ice cream cone on his face that named himself after us. That's what pisses me off, though. I mean, at the end of the day, the Gucci thing shouldn't be pissing people off because in hip hop culture, why do we not support hip hop culture, our own brands? It doesn't even need to be white owned. Like even
Yeah.
Shady, like it's fucked up.
Now, to be absolutely honest, I stopped supporting hip-hop brands when they started going emo.
Which brands went emo though? And what
Like,
is
I would-
emo?
Yeah. Tight jeans.
Emotional.
Skinny jeans, weird shit. You know, like that kind of stuff. I started going into...
She's smiling though. I
That's
don't
emo.
think-
I know I'm more.
Goth, like
I'm
more
more
goth.
That's goth,
Yeah.
for sure.
And I, you know,
Right.
goth's cool.
Like I went into legit pretty much the year before they closed.
Right.
And I like my jeans with some give to them. Right? I don't like skinny jeans. And hip hop culture was never about skinny jeans. We left that to Def Leppard.
Right.
And I walked in, I looked at a bunch of Sean John jeans, a bunch of academics jeans, and they were all skinny.
They weren't. So it
Like-
wasn't like fitted. It was.
No,
Skinny.
it wasn't fitted. It was skinny. Right? And I'm going, when did this happen? So that's when I stopped buying it. Like the style itself did not like
Yeah.
I wasn't comfortable in the style. Right? That's why I stopped supporting those brands.
I stopped supporting those brands because they're gone. They were gone.
Yeah, I think right
You know
shortly
what I'm
after that they
saying?
were gone. you
They're
know?
gone. Like I saw the skinnies and everything like that, and I'm like, fuck. Well, I like relaxed fit. I don't like the extra baggy like
No,
we did
neither
back
me,
then.
yeah.
But I like the relaxed fit. And then I found like Levi's and Parasuco.
Well, yeah, we're not wearing
Yeah.
size. We're not wearing size 48
No.
jeans anymore.
I found Winners and Foot Locker had the best thing. And then I started liking sweatpants.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm
I've
a
always
dad.
liked sweatpants
Comfy.
though.
You know I can't wear gray sweatpants anymore.
You know what? I can't. I tend to stay away from sweatpants if I'm going out.
No.
You can see your dick bulge.
Yep. I was out with the wife, and we were grocery shopping. And at the register, she said, "I've been looking at your dick all day." And I said, "Thank you." You know what I'm saying?
Like, no,
She's
I've actually like.
yeah, she's like, "No,
Not
like, it
in a
wasn't a
good way.
compliment." She's like, "I've been looking at your dick all day. You're not allowed to wear those pants out anymore." I said, "Okay." I won't.
No, I just have to be very careful too. Now it's
I
gonna
don't
sound
ever want to
weird.
hear about your dick ever again.
No, I'm gonna talk about it every episode.
Yeah.
Perfect.
From the mushroom top to the bulge, all of it.
Wow.
Okay.
No, and then with jeans in specific, like I have to be very
The
careful
Vader
what
helmet.
jeans I wear,
I'm
right? Because literally, and Will and I were having this discussion off air one afternoon.
yeah.
I've sat on my balls a few times now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it sucks.
You
And you know what though?
This shit's
you know what
dropping.
though? When it's like hot in the summertime, it's not.
Oh,
and
yeah.
niggas don't sit on their balls like regularly. You only sit on your balls when you forcibly, violently put yourself into a chair.
Yeah.
Like no one just goes like this and be like, oh my balls.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's always when you're jumping into the very
Yeah.
relaxed and just hit that.
Well,
shit.
that's because they're swing.
One nut just goes under and it's just like,
Yeah.
that's why I wear
Do you
boxer
know,
briefs now.
do you guys know who Patrick Kelly is?
No.
Swayze?
No, Patrick Kelly.
Okay.
He was.
Is that a senator?
No. African American guy, was a designer. I'm reading it off Wikipedia right now. He was a designer and born in the 50s, died in 1990, age 35. He came to be known for his line of clothing for trying to make blackface less racist, or trying to take blackface and make it fashionable.
So trying to take blackface and do what black people did with nigger.
Yeah.
Okay, did it work?
Yeah. Became very successful.
I don't think it did because
he
we don't
died
see it
in
anymore.
He died in AIDS related.
He was
illnesses.
successful, but was that part of his clothing line successful?
I do believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, his whole clothing line was blackface, and he,
Was he black? Yeah.
yeah, African American guy.
That
Okay.
seems to
He was,
be that
he was
seems to
born
be a
in
little redundant though.
Vicksburg, Mississippi. So I mean,
But he had a reasoning. Did he have a reasoning behind it? Like
Well,
an
yeah,
explanation? Like I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't just put out something blackface. Be like, here, niggas. Like he had something behind it, trying to take away the power. of
Yeah,
it
he
or
was trying to
something
take
like
the power away from just like
Okay,
we did for
yeah.
nigger, right? So I mean,
That's different from Gucci.
no, absolutely. But what I'm saying,
I think Gucci had full intent on that one. That
don't-
one was
I
a
don't
slip.
think- I don't
There's
think they
no
do.
way you could let that slip. The coolest monkey in the jungle, I could see how that goes through quality control. Because what if they just showed him? You could see how that, because quality control could be somewhere in Europe where monkey isn't really that there, right?
Yeah.
So, but the fucking
It's a-
turtleneck with
it's
the
a
big
neck.
red lips. There's no way that slipped past quality control. Somebody looked at it and said, yeah. Someone saw that. There was someone along the line that saw that and said, yep. And either A, they were racist or don't like black people or just like that.
They're just stupid.
Or B, they don't like Gucci.
Yeah, because it's a whack sweater.
Listen,
just whack.
the sweater's ugly as shit. I don't think it was racist. I don't see.
The
see
sweater's not
listen,
racist. The sweater's incredibly insensitive.
I see how it can be considered a racist sweater with all the connotation behind it, right? With everything that could have happened, with everything that's happened in society. I don't think it was meant to be that way.
If blackface wasn't a thing, then it
don't-
wouldn't have been. I'm not saying this. You can't. The sweater can't be racist.
Yeah. But the
sweater's
designer behind it,
incredibly
the connotation behind the sweater, maybe.
No, I think the designer behind it, intended it to look like blackface,
No, I don't think so.
and I think quality control, someone just missed the ball.
I don't
I
think
just
so.
think the designer behind it is an imbecile.
Yeah, the design of
Whether
the sweater
what
sucked.
I don't know if his
I don't think it
intentions
was
were
race.
blackface or not, but he's an imbecile.
Either way, I look at the sweater. I'm like, I'm like, whatever. It's a sweater. There's no negative for it. I mean, except for it being an ugly sweater.
Made
But I
by
mean-
an imbecile. Anyway.
Yeah, and the designer being an imbecile. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. And Will's giving me a weird ass look. Like I
I'm
should
giving
be
you a weird
offended.
ass look because at the end of the day, regardless of our upbringing, where we come from, and our cultural black backgrounds,
Right.
the sweater doesn't look like you. The sweater doesn't look like how you were portrayed in history.
Okay.
Even though you are of black descent or whatever you want to call it,
All right.
the sweater doesn't look like you.
Okay.
But the sweater does look like how my grandmother. Now I'm talking about someone that was their only separation is one generation. And she was a famous singer who had people make fun of her in blackface.
Wow.
So this is someone. This is
okay.
someone. I have great grandparents who I've met that have had crosses burned on their lawn
Okay.
in the southern
My-
states. So this is. I understand 100% where you're coming from.
Right.
But it's hard to have an emotional reaction to that when the sweater does not look like how your family was portrayed.
I understand that. My only rebuttal to that would be that it is a pure black. It's midnight black. It's not a shade of brown that a human is. And I understand. I understand. Blackface was black. It was black.
Blackface was pure
Yeah.
black. It was.
Yeah, it was a caricature.
It was crushed coal and oil, and sometimes shoe polish
Right.
on your face. That's why it's called blackface, not brown face. And that's how
I
we
get
were
that.
portrayed. And it's
Okay.
not even like, okay, it looks. No, I'm not saying that it looks like me. It looks like what they told us we look like.
Right.
See, that's why I so love Carnival in Trinidad. Because the history behind it was slaves painting themselves in whiteface.
Right.
Right? To go, stupid former slave owners.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are idiots. Let's air all your dirty laundry now. You're sleeping with her. She had a kid by so-and-so and you didn't know. Right? It's the perfect revenge in my mind.
And the thing is like blackface goes deeper than just this is our caricature of you. You have the blackface, A. You have blackface during a time when there was black actors.
Yeah.
B. You have blackface in movies where the black man was raping white women, acting like a gorilla, eating watermelon. So it's not just blackface. It's blackface and
That sounds like Parnell's daily routine. Anyway.
It's my hourly routine. Be prepared, ladies.
there's some watermelon raping happen. But the thing is, it's one of those things where it's like the history, and I can see like where me, that's what look and then I just brush it out. The shit was fucked up. I'm good to go. But then you got to think about there's people that still live in that. Like the history happens. There's people that still have had crosses burned on their parents have had crosses burned on their lawn. They've seen the blackface. They're selling. You go to an antique store and they're selling trinkets where it's like the blackface mammy on there, and it's selling Coca-Cola. Like they still have those as antique things that people could buy and sell. It's like it's things where it's like, okay, the blackface is.
You could probably catch a pretty penny for that.
You could probably catch a pretty penny for that, but at the end of the day, you're catching a pretty penny for your mockery. You're catching a pretty penny because they're not looking at you like you're a person. They're looking at you like you're a character. That's why all these things, like, fuck slavery. Whatever. The slavery was just a portion of it. We got to look at it as, like, doctors up until recently, we're taught that black people have a higher pain tolerance than white people. They were given less anesthetic. The U.S. is fucked, and that the hate you give little infants fucks everybody. That's why you have all these common interest groups that have the over what do we call it?
Overarching.
No, when you
The
overcompensate.
intersectionality. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Overcompensation.
Yeah.
Because
Overcorrecting.
Yeah, overcorrecting because of all this shit. There's no medium ground. And then you have
At least in their mind.
you have you have a mindset that you're fucking yourself. You're in neighborhoods where you're killing yourself because you're still in the mindset of other people trying to kill you.
Right.
And you're growing up without people telling you that you don't need to die or to kill. Like, it's such a fucked up mindset where it's like we could sit here and have conversations about it. But by the age of 10, being black and growing up in some of those neighborhoods, you have extreme PTSD.
Right.
And you have nowhere to go.
You and we just had this conversation at the beginning of the podcast about mindset and you know how.
Where we at? We're out longer on this one than we were the last one?
I don't care.
I'm hungry.
So am I. When we have the mindset of being king, of winning, of being a $100 billion media mogul, right? Your exact words, right? You, yeah, I remember shit.
I'm listening. I'm sorry.
But you have to understand is that I don't think you can have, and let me be. I don't want to say I don't think you can. I want to say
Just don't bring
never,
the KKK into the
never-
into the comparison, and we're good.
Don't forget the past. Never forget, but don't dwell. Right? And
Agreed.
I think
agree with that.
what our culture is doing is dwelling
Dwelling.
too much on the past and finding references that maybe are there, maybe aren't there, when they should be looking towards a better future for themselves, their family, their culture, their society, and including other races in that. I look at myself and I look at John, I look at you, and we're all different races, right? We would never be here if there wasn't a commonality between them,
Slavery?
between our parents.
Slavery? The Underground Railroad? Like, we would not be here if it wasn't for...
No, I'm talking you. I'm talking you, me, and John. We wouldn't.
Like,
We wouldn't be here if our parents were racist towards each other. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we're a generation or two removed now. We have to start thinking how to move forward and not dwelling on this is something that could hurt me.
But it's not...
Or this is something that has hurt me in the past, and just and do and I hate to.
That's
take,
not dwelling, though. That's not dwelling.
I know. I hate to take such a lenient look at it, but it should, in my eyes, it should be okay. It happened. First of all, they have to acknowledge. U.S. has to acknowledge it happened. The U.S. government has to acknowledge it happened. Those states, like you said, the Georgia thing you posted, they have to acknowledge that it happened, right? After that, okay, great, it's happened. They know it's happened. We can move forward now. That's the first step in saying let's move forward.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with you on that, but it's not... I don't dwell on it. You haven't seen me dwell on shit like that. I don't care. Okay,
You don't,
but that shit pissed me off. But you know what that shit pissed me off?
But when you speak for a whole culture. I know you say you only speak for yourself, but when you speak for a whole culture.
Right. So I speak for a whole culture. So let me speak for a whole culture. Let me get some of that. Just a little. Whoa, holy shit.
She's giving out. Just
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah. So let me speak for a whole culture. Okay. It's easy to get past the past, right?
I don't think it is.
It's easy to get past the past. I mean,
Realistically, it should be easy.
yeah.
Yeah,
realistically,
I mean,
it
at
should
the end of the day, it's to shorten the terms to get past the past. Okay,
Shit's greasy.
You know, you do little classes. People apologize. Then you move forward. You could do that.
Yeah.
Easy as in it could take, let's say 10, 15 years. You do that, right?
Right.
So let's say someone was raped. Can't dwell on a rape.
No.
Horrible fucking thing.
Yeah.
And you go into classes, you go into counseling and everything like that. And as soon as you go to counseling, let's say you go to counseling every Wednesday. And let's say every Friday, someone comes up to you and shows you a video of that rape. You're right back when it happened. You're right back when it happened.
I disagree.
So how can you disagree? As soon as you went through a traumatizing experience, you want to move forward. Moving forward is getting over it. Getting
no,
over
no,
it
no,
is
no, no.
putting it in a
Nope.
part of your mind where you don't have to keep
Nope, you're-
revisiting it.
no, it's
as
not.
soon, yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
Get-
is.
no, it's not.
Look it up. This is medical.
It's
this is
accepting what happened
no,
to you
accepting what happened
and
to
being
you.
able to move past it that way.
Accepting what happened to you and moving forward is fine. But as soon as you revisit it, all those feelings come back.
Yes, they do.
And you cannot move forward because you're stuck with all those feelings. And that's an extreme example, but that's how it is. So you have all these feelings that still come back. So that's why you never see me dwell on shit. You don't see me talk about slavery all the time, da 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 da. But if something from the history that affects me, I speak on it. I'm not dwelling on it.
No, I
if
understand
I 100% say, yo, fuck Gucci for this bullshit. Is Gucci racist? I don't fucking know if Gucci's racist. Is Gucci fucked up? Yep. Did Gucci put out some insensitive shit? Yep. Did Gucci put out something that disrespected my ancestors? Yep. Fuck Gucci. You disrespected my people, regardless if it was disrespect by not being due diligence, disrespect by ignorance, disrespect by being stupid. You disrespected my people, intentionally or not. Fuck you. Bye. Fuck Gucci, and I'm moving on.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
And
though-
you're sorry. One second.
I understand. Go ahead.
1 second.
This
Alright,
cream is
listen,
amazing.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's started greasy, but it's okay. You have every right. You have every right to feel that way,
Right?
right? And I also feel that I have every right to feel the way I do. Whereas,
100%.
right, I see the comparison, but I don't see the comparison, right? I think
What do you mean the comparison with
the Gucci
sweater
and
and the blackface? Okay.
right? I understand that it could be interpreted that way, but I also understand it could be interpreted as bad fashion, right? I'm not going to make the leap because I don't know all the facts.
You don't need to make the leap. The leap was made. The leap was made. At the end of the day,
it was made by somebody, but not me, right?
Okay, so at the end of the
and
day,
at
but
the
then
at the end of the day, all I can say is how I feel, not how somebody else feels, and that's not going to be me, right?
Okay, but at
So-
the end, but that doesn't change anything.
No,
they pissed. The leap was made
Yeah.
by people who actually felt offended by it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying we can't if you're gonna be offended by it, that's fine. But don't feel the way because I don't feel offended by it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying other black people that I've talked to already. They feel the way because I don't feel offended by it, right? And I'm like,
Do you think you
Okay.
should?
I think some people do
Why?
because they want you to be part of the same group. Misery loves company, man.
Okay, yeah. You know what though?
Right?
I'm
This is-
thinking about some of the shit on Facebook. I'm thinking about some of the comments I got on the K Perry thing. Because on the K Perry thing, I'm like, black people, y'all reaching. This is
dude,
not
on
black.
on
Like
black-
not everything is
on the
blackface.
Gucci
Come
one,
on.
It's
you posted,
Blackfoot.
I started
You know?
saying shit. And I got yelled.
Therefore,
like,
natives
yo.
should be angry.
People got roasted, and I was like, you know what? Me taking offense is I don't want people to join in and take offense to something because I do. If you're like, oh well, he's offended, so I should be offended.
Yeah.
Like my offense isn't cool.
Yeah, don't overcorrect.
My offense is very disrespectful. Like if we had a Gucci store in Calgary, because I can afford Gucci. I know a lot of niggas just said fuck Gucci because they couldn't afford Gucci. Now they have an excuse not to buy Gucci. Like I can afford Gucci,
Right.
But I fucks with Guess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Guess. I love Guess.
My jeans cost me $7.
Yo, are we wearing the same? Oh, I thought.
No.
I mean,
$7.
so, but my whole thing is like this. Then one of the reasons why I had to take that break off Facebook because I found myself getting mad at shit.
You
and not knowing if I was mad at shit.
I know. I could hear it when I talk to you, and I can read it in your text, but it wouldn't be posted on social media, which is good. You have self control that way.
If I get pissed off at something, like if y'all piss me off, I'm gonna tell y'all piss me off.
Right.
I'm gonna express what I have to express because I know that I could express my discontent with y'all, and we're good. If I
Face to face,
yeah.
yeah.
If I express my discontent with y'all to the public, I'm gonna look a type of way.
Yeah.
And I'm putting all of us in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, if you piss me off, and we have a conversation about it,
Yeah.
whether it's respectful or not,
And whether we agree or not at the end,
Yeah.
we still shake hands.
but we don't. You haven't pissed me off because of disagreements. I can't remember like when you do piss me off. I'm old.
KKK and black people.
No, that didn't piss me off.
Oh, okay.
That confused me. That's why I was so adamant because I was confused. I didn't understand. And if I don't understand you, I feel like even when we don't agree, okay, when we disagree,
Right.
I still understand you. So I feel like we're on the same page.
Okay, you understand my side.
Yeah.
And okay, I get it.
If we disagree and I don't understand you, I feel uncomfortable.
Because you're not understanding why I feel the way.
I just don't understand you.
Got it.
I know why you feel away.
We get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
We're running way long.
I wanted to talk about
Part 2.
food.
Part 2.
Oh yeah.
No, we're good. Please like, subscribe, and share. I have no idea if this one's coming out.
Oh, this one's definitely coming out. This one is coming out probably before the one we've just recorded.
Okay.
You can't because at the beginning
some
he was like,
DeLorean,
damn it.
some DeLorean shit going on here.
All right, yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that fun shit. Listen, we are still doing our donations. We are giving away $1 for every single comment, or not comment, every single review we get on iTunes, Google Play, everything like that. So make sure you do that. Like, share, subscribe.
giving away $1 to who?
Yeah, stop. To charity.
Which one?
Probably Boys and Girls Club. Problem?
Do I have a problem with the Boys and Girls Club? Was that your question?
No problem with charity. Problem with giving away money.
I have a huge problem with giving away money. Yes.
To charity?
I have a huge.
Take all that money you spent on Gucci and just give it to charity.
I don't buy.
doesn't
Gucci.
And with that, we out this motherfucker.